Well, for more on this, I'm joined from London by Marko Gasic. He's the founder of the London-based Serbian Information Centre and a commentator on Balkan affairs. Thanks so much for joining us. Lead cables indicate US concern that maybe Europe is losing ground in the struggle to keep Kosovo united. Who is winning that struggle, Europe or Serbia, looking at how elections are going?
Kosovo, in the sense you refer to, has never been united because it's the product is a fake state based on ethnic cleansing of a huge proportion of the population. In fact,
all right, let's call it further dividing or further dividing then Kosovo into two entities.
Well, the whole purpose of this election is to pretend that Kosovo is a homogeneous whole of multi-ethnic nature. Now, we know that Kosovo is a fake state based on ethnic cleansing, and this cannot hide that reality. This election is a bit of a charade, a bit of a publicity stunt designed to create the opposite impression. And Serbians recognise that their participation is designed to hoodwink the world into an impression that the Serbians have not been ethnically cleansed and not been forced out forever from their ancestral homes. Remember that one-third of there's 220,000 Serbians who aren't allowed to vote because they were ethnically cleansed by their Albanian co-territorials, as it were. So this is really a fake state, a fake election designed as a PR stunt by those who want to promote the idea that
you may see it as
democracy.
A fake state and see that the Serbs were ethnically cleansed and not the Kosovars. Of course, Albanians have a different take on things. Putting that aside, though, we can focus on the regional implications of this. How are developments in Kosovo in the process after elections going to impact Serbia's ambitions to join the EU?
Well, the EU itself is divided. Really, what the Kosovo example shows, or the Kosovo precedent that we're trying to be persuaded into accepting, shows is the danger of running the world by accepting unilateral secession. The EU itself is divided on this issue. The whole world is more against this than anything else. And so all that the US has done by promoting Kosovan independence is open a can of worms for the rest of the world. So it won't help relations with the EU, but it won't help the relations within the EU either, because the EU has joined a campaign to promote unilateral dismemberment of small nations, which can only be bad for the world generally. So for that reason, it's going to be instability all round, I'm afraid.
What about when it comes to interests, Russian interests in the region? If the EU pushes on with its ambitions for Kosovo, how is that going to affect the balancing act over keeping the Russians happy as well?
Well, it's perfectly clear that Serbia is viewed in many Western capitals as a proxy for Russia. So what happens to Serbia is really a trial balloon for what you'd like to do to Russia later. That's really the view in Western capitals. And I think it's also a perception that the Russians have as well. So they know that however, the more hawkish the EU is towards Serbia, it's an indication of what it would really like to be towards Russia. So I'm sure that the Russians will not be at all pleased with a hawkish EU line towards Serbia over the issue of Kosovo. I think we should understand that Serbia has sovereign rights over this territory. You cannot just trample over a country, take part of it away by bombs, and then declare that part to be independent, give it to the terrorists, and hold elections there. That is not on. And remember also that those politicians who are now standing for election in Kosovo, most of them have been accused by Western intelligence agencies themselves of being criminals turned politicians who are still involved in criminal activities, including the organ trade, including drug trafficking and smuggling and women's slavery. So the whole list of sins is still at the door of those politicians who used to be clearly terrorists and criminals.
All right, you've got some very clear perspective and position on that. Thanks for sharing your thoughts.